Hi guys, welcome to Chemo Glow, where the glow doesn't define me, I define the glow. Thank you for joining us tonight for the Gift of Respite. Please check us out on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Please share, follow, and subscribe. Also check out our podcast where available. If you're interested in being on the show to share your glow, please email us at chemoglow.com. Guys, do you hear my dog in the background? Yeah. It's going to be an interesting podcast tonight. Just know anything can happen. But on Monday, we'll have a special broadcast celebrating my glow. I will be celebrating a 10-year milestone, 10 years cancer-free, actually on April 19th. So please watch on Chemo Glow Live. And if you want to join me, just email me. I'll send you the link. Come on. So I'm looking forward to Monday. Anything goes. My husband may or may not show up. My kids, my dog, who knows? Just come and join us. Now, it's April, guys. Chemo Glow is celebrating Volunteer Month. April 21st, next week, Michelle Manning will be on. She is the Center Coordinator for Comprehensive Cancer Center at UNC. I can't wait for her to come on. I had a chance to talk to her briefly last week. So I'm looking forward to her giving us a little bit more information about what their program does. Guys, my guest tonight is Katerina. She was on podcast 17, Healing Without Boundaries. Before we start, I want to go ahead and play a little thing from our podcast.
We all have our own struggles and our own journey. And now I would say I'm at a place where I accept that and recognize that. But at the time, I was a 32-year-old mom, worried that my kids were not going to know me ever because my daughter was 4 months old and my son was 2.5. And I just remember thinking, like, this is not the place for me. Like, I was crying. And
I've been there.
Yeah. And so when I moved to North Carolina, that was one of the things that I wanted to set up. And I went to the YSC conference and spoke with Liz Sherwood at UNC, who ran our group for a couple of years with me. And I was just felt very lucky. I was meeting moms when I moved, but I wasn't meeting cancer survivors. And there was I just needed to know local cancer survivors that got it, that I could talk to. So as much as I saw the need for other women, I still needed that myself.
All right. Welcome my guest, Katerina. Hi, Kat. How you doing?
Hey, Regina. I'm doing well. Thanks for having Jessica and I on tonight.
Yes. I'm so happy. I forgot to mention, we actually have 2 guests tonight. Like I said, anything can happen tonight. So we have 2 guests tonight. Jessica will be joining us shortly after we chat a little bit and talk about Healing Pines Respite. So formally introduce yourself. Go ahead and tell this huge audience your name and what brought you here.
My name is Katerina Gmitter. I am co-founder of Healing Pines Respite. I relocated to North Carolina. It's been about 8 or 9 years ago now, and I live in Chapel Hill. And I am an 11-year cancer survivor. So when
Yes.
I was 32, I was diagnosed with an aggressive form of triple negative breast cancer, and I do have family history. I lost my mother to metastatic breast cancer when I was 20 years old. So breast cancer has been a part of my life for a very long time. And I had been volunteering in various capacities, and things really started to align 2 years ago in 2019 when we were able to launch our own nonprofit, Healing Pines Respite. And we provide resources for women and really connection through respite. So giving women the time to heal mind, body, and spirit through connection and time away from home and life's obligations, whether that be work or family, partners, children, whatever it may be. So we offer 2 nights to connect with other survivors, and also day spa respites. And we started morning and afternoon yoga respites at Serenity Farm in Durham. And our next one is going to be the end of the month. So yeah, we're still new, but we're growing. And even being on hold in this year, some exciting opportunities have come up.
Oh, I am loving that you guys are starting back up at the end of this month. Well, before you started Healing Pines Respite, I met you at YSC. Um, I was a little lost then, needed to find my way, and I was newly diagnosed. So I was so excited to sit there. And just last week, it was kind of like full circle. You gave me a call. Tell me a little bit about what happened last week.
Are you talking about our podcast?
Our YSC full circle moment, where I received a text about 2 hours before time, and I was able to actually sit in on the Young Survivor Coalition group, and I've already connected with one of the ladies that were up there. We're already texting. We are already having that conversation. And I remember how important you were to me at that time, coming to that group, being newly diagnosed and not knowing what was next. So we kind of had a full circle moment last week when you gave me a call, and I was more than happy to jump in, step in, and it shows me that you can't get rid of me. Like anytime you need me, call me.
That's wonderful. And I will take you off on that. So the support group has been going on. It started, I guess, a few months after I moved down here, and then it was with Liz Sherwood, and now it's with the help of with Michelle, which I'm so glad you're going to be talking to her next week. And those early women, right, that we met with monthly. And I think having the same location too was really great. And it was part of the Lineberger Comprehensive Cancer Center at that point at Carolina too. And that was really nice. It was a really great room. Yes. And I think sometimes that's wonderful too. And yeah, so last week with kids' activities, and I'm sure everyone's dealing with just changing schedules constantly. And so the online support group hasn't really been happening monthly during COVID, but I really made a point. There have been some newly diagnosed women that have reached out, and I know really needed the support. So we made it happen. And then life happens and kids' obligations. So I was so grateful that you jumped in, and that you'll be joining us whenever you can as well. I think that when I first attended a support group when I was diagnosed, because peer support was really what got me through. And I remember the woman that was running it, she was, I think, 7 years out. And there were 2 things that stuck with me. And the one was that she said, one day you will wake up and cancer will not be the first thing you think of. And I was like, there is no way. Like, it's so all encompassing, right? Like every facet of your life gets affected when you are diagnosed and have surgery and chemo. And the other thing that I learned from her, was when I had a tough time, when I kind of go through all the trauma and layers, is that I thought my story was going to be my mom's story.
Yeah.
So my mom was diagnosed and then her cancer came back, and she was undertreated. They, from the beginning, I know that now, but I always thought my story was going to be hers. So I would always count, okay, well, she had, I think it was like 3 to 5 years. So I'm like, that's what I have. So if it ever comes back, I have, or that was always my mindset. Okay, let me have 3 years. I'll have another 3 years. I'll have another 5 years. And that's why those milestones with my children have been so important too. And getting to celebrate 10 years, 11 years, and you get to celebrate 10 next week. And
on Monday.
A beautiful thing. And it is full circle. And it's so heartwarming when I think about that early group and how much it helped me as well.
Yeah. I see a picture of your kids now. Look how big they are.
Yeah. So we had photos done in the fall, and I was so grateful because they were right on the cusp of growing up more. Like, I feel like this was still, so my son now is, he's grown another couple of inches, and my daughter too. So I'm just so grateful. And even that day when I had those photos done, so I had professional photos done when I was 1 year out from chemo. And then we did them, I think, like 4 years ago. So in this picture, I was a couple of months out from chemo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, my daughter had officially more hair than I did. So this was the thick of it, right? Like that was, I remember that night, reading to my children, and I don't have many photos of myself going through treatment. I feel like now women document everything.
Yeah.
I was before that, I guess. And I would just say, like, don't take any pictures. I don't want to remember this.
That was me. I think I only have one picture. So now I have family photos. Now I'm taking advantage of these pictures. I'm taking advantage of having fall photos. It only took me 2 years to print them out.
But that's okay.
But I love that my photographer loves me enough to make sure that she just keeps everything for me. But family, taking the pictures, being in the moment, capturing those moments are so important.
And being in the photo. Like, I know for the, in the beginning, now I still am. I'm like, I want a photo with the kids. Whereas before, I know so many moms are not in photos because moms are taking all the photos. But through the years, it's just become more of a habit because I'm like, I don't know how many more photos I'm going to get. So I want them to see these memories and see me, because I know how much I cherish the photos that I do have of my mom, even from when I was young, because I really don't have that many photos of my mother and I.
Pictures are so like amazing. They're good for now. They're good for later. And during our podcast, you made me really think. You said, I want to make sure my kids, see me. They know who I am. And I was sitting there thinking, I want to know my kids, because at that time I wasn't pregnant. I was just thinking about fighting this beast. So our podcast was so special to me. I love the fact that we were able to connect and actually just talk about where we were before and where we are now. And you are actually doing some really amazing things. You did celebrate your 10-year. I totally missed it. It was right before COVID happened. And now we're another year out, which is a little crazy. But I want to play a quick video. When you guys first started Healing Pines Respite, you asked a couple of people to, hey, tell us what this would mean to you. So we're going to play a quick video, and then we're going to bring Jessica on. Hi, my name is Regina, and I would like to first congratulate Katerina on the Healing Pines Respite. Her and Jessica are going to do amazing things for women who have been diagnosed with breast cancer. I met Katerina shortly after my diagnosis at the Young Survivor Coalition. That is a support group from young women who have been diagnosed with cancer. At that time, I needed community. I needed someone to understand where I was coming from. And it was so healing to have a family around you who actually knew what you were going through, and you shared some of the same experiences. Through meeting Kat, I actually learned that, on top of medicine, on top of surgery, healing was the key. So Healing Pines Respite would have been so wonderful for a young, newlywed, to have some time to actually relax and step away from the reality of cancer. Being able to bond with other women, being able to take some time for yourself and allow yourself to just be would have been wonderful. Unfortunately, I've had 3 women who are very close to me to be diagnosed in the past 3 months. I know now that this will be perfect for them, perfect for their families, perfect for their friends, just so they can get away and have some time to themselves. It is not just about the medication, it's not just about the surgeries, it's also about the holistic approach of healing yourself within. So I want to really, really thank Katerina and Jessica for coming together and making this happen. Ladies, you're going to help a lot of people. You're going to heal a lot of hearts. And I just want to thank you for allowing me to congratulate you. Hi, Jessica.
Hi, Gina. How are you?
I am doing so well. Thank you for joining me tonight. You guys are doing some amazing things in this community, and I'm so happy that you guys are on tonight to tell us a little bit about Healing Pines Respite. But before we start, let's get a little background on you. Go ahead and introduce yourself and tell me why this is so important to you and why it started for you.
Sure. Well, thank you for having me on, Regina. This is very exciting. So I actually live right across the street from Katerina. So we're neighbors and friends, have been for several years. And in 2017, my father was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer and passed away 2 months later. So it was a very quick, quick diagnosis, quick treatment. So that experience kind of led me to Katerina and talking a lot about cancer and cancer care and some of the gaps that there are. I kind of saw firsthand. There wasn't really, it was very medical. There was, the medical part was there, but there wasn't much for him in terms of holistic care. So I definitely saw some of the gaps there. And then also my background is in social work. So it was kind of a good fit to really start working with, sort of join my experience with my social work background. And that's sort of how Katerina and I started Healing Pines. And also for me, I think a lot of the work that I'd done in the past was mentoring and working in schools. And I saw the power of connection. And I think that goes sort of across the board, is when people connect with each other and they have a shared experience, that a lot can happen and a lot of healing and a lot of support. And so that's really big focus of Healing Pines, is having those people and women connecting around what they're going through. So that's a really important piece of it for me.
Oh, where did the artwork come for the Healing Pines Respite logo?
Yeah, so my father was an artist. He was a community organizer, artist, musician, sort of a Renaissance man, I would say. Just a really wonderful, wonderful person. And he and I were very close. So actually, one of his paintings is right behind me. You can see it. But he did a lot of abstract work, and then he did some real life, which was what our logo is from. It's a painting with the whole scene, and then there's a little pine tree in the back. So we took that.
I love that. I'm actually trying to find a picture here of your dad. I think we have one.
Yeah, there he is in Maine with my 2 kids.
Yes. And what's this picture about right here?
Well, he loved to fish, so he was trying to teach Ben, who was 4 at the time, how to fish. That was in Maine also. So yeah, he had a lot of interests, and he actually did a lot of, he sort of took kids who maybe didn't have a father figure. He took them under his wing a lot. So we often had random people in and out of the house all the time. And I kind of saw firsthand that, again, the power of connection, of mentoring, of sort of your, not duty, but desire to help and be there for other people and give what you can when you can. That was, really, he did a lot for the community and for lots of different people.
So how did you and Katerina get together? Your neighbors? Did you start it at the kitchen table? Were you walking your kids to school? What was going on?
I remember exactly. We were walking to the bus stop one day. Katerina was like, I've really been thinking about this. I have this idea. And I was like, is she crazy or is this a good idea? At the time, I wasn't, my youngest son had just started kindergarten. Mm-hmm. So I was finally felt this a little bit of freedom from, kids all day, all the time. Mm-hmm. So I kind of had the time and space to think about it and, realized pretty quickly that it was something that I was really interested in doing. I think because of my dad's, he was diagnosed in June. We knew something was terribly wrong. He was losing, weight, very sick, but we didn't have any idea what it was. So it was like, this boom, like, are you kidding me? This is what's happening. And then 2 months later, he was gone. So I think there was something like Healing Pines has really been healing for me, with him, because I know that he would be, really proud of it. And I know that this is something that he would support and he would love. He loved new, crazy ideas. So Katerina kind of reminded me of him in some ways, kind of having this idea. And I thought, yes, we should do this. So it's been really great.
So Katerina, walking to the bus stop, you said, hey, this is a wonderful idea. What can we do to get it started? You guys, how many respites have you done so far?
So we've had 2 overnight ones, and then we've had a few day spa respites, and then we had a yoga respite as well. So that was all in like 6 months.
Yes.
And then COVID hit. So right before COVID, we had a fun, fantastic fundraiser in Carborough, and we had a throwback to the 90s theme. And we had a dance.
That is it, right?
That's it.
It was so fun. We had a little bit of like, throwback. I mean, for us, where we are, it was like throwback to college. So it was just such a fun night, and we gained just excitement, and it was a lot of, we raised a lot of money for our small nonprofit, and it just gave us, the energy, right, that we needed. So we were kind of coming off of that and planning our respites. We had a respite scheduled for, I think it was the end of March, and then things started unraveling, and we proactively canceled that respite. And aside from a yoga event, we've been on hold, and our waiting list is growing. So we really want to be able to host women again safely when that's possible.
Yes.
So
we're hoping, I'm sorry, Katerina, I didn't mean to.
Go ahead.
We're hoping that we can host in the fall, have an overnight and a day spa sooner than that, hopefully, on a smaller scale.
So we were, sorry.
That's okay. It's okay, because I'm about to ask you the question that you're about to answer. I was asking, where did you do your respites at? Like, where did they happen?
Our first respite was at the Umstead, and then the second was at Pinehurst. And we were so grateful, Regina, that you were able to join us. So Regina was our survivor volunteer as well, that helped with connection and conversation. And yeah.
And then yes,
amazing.
it was wonderful to have you there.
Oh, thank you.
Especially for our first one. I don't know what we would have done if you hadn't been there, actually. But also the day spa one is at Hillsborough Day Spa in Hillsborough. So that's where we host women from about 9 o'clock in the morning till 2 in the afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
And so for women who can't get away for 2 nights, because it's not always feasible for someone to get away for 2 nights, we offer the day respite. And we're hoping to do more of those if we can continue to get funding. So
that's what I was going to ask next. How can people donate, fundraise? Because let me tell you, first of all, it was a joy and it was a privilege for you ladies to even think of me to come out there to support you guys. I went to the one for Pinehurst, went to the one for Umstead, and all of them were great for different reasons. As you know, the one at Umstead, we had a lot of different people there, a lot of different women who were going through different cancers, not just breast cancer. Mm-hmm. And because this was the first event, the feedback was like, it wasn't the first event. They thought that we've been doing it forever. The ladies had such an amazing time. I have a couple of pictures, and I still talk to these ladies now. We had some wonderful women that we actually met, and we actually had some wonderful women that are no longer with us. But because of that respite, their family expressed to you guys that it was wonderful for them. So tell us a little bit about, I'm going to ask you, Katerina, a little bit about the Umstead respite trip. And then I want you to talk about a little bit about the Pinehurst respite trip, Jessica. So the Umstead, tell me what you had to do to get that going, to get everyone engaged in there. How did that look like?
So in starting out, we really focus on trying to foster connection, but doing it in a way that isn't very formal. So we really want women to get to know each other on their own comfort level. And for some, that's sharing a lot, like me. And for others, it's opening up slowly over the course of the 2 days. I think what makes us really unique and special is that we do serve women with all cancer. There are some throughout our country that do serve women, specifically breast cancer patients. But it was really important for me to just make sure that we're offering it to all women, and really to offer it to all women across the entire state. So right now we're mostly pulling from the Triangle area, but we have had some people come from a little bit further out, but we really want to spread the mission to make that happen. It's really a beautiful thing when you bring women together who may be from different backgrounds and have different cancers, but there's still this commonality, and it's the commonality of going through a trauma, of dealing with uncertainty, and women face a lot of the same issues. Yeah. And being able to connect with other women, I know for myself too, and I know, Regina, you could agree that still now meeting survivors, I still take knowledge from each and every one of them, from things that worked for them, or meditations or affirmations or reframing some of that trauma. Because it is a trauma. Being diagnosed with cancer is a trauma, and it's at a different level for different people. But that's just something that we really, really focus on with that connection. And Jessica's social work background has really helped with that as well. I'm a teacher by training, and so there's that part of me, and then volunteer work and the lived experience as well. So it was a lot of work putting it together. And I think that it's fair to say that Jessica and I took on way more than we realized in the beginning. We were like, okay, so that was a lot. We really thought that during the respite, we were going to be planning and using it as work time. But it was beautiful to be able to be present and to engage and to connect and to really gift women. like to really gift them this time and space and connection and healing. And I think from that respite, a few of the women have died since the respite, and Rose stands out to me. While we were there, she gifted Jessica and I earrings that she had made, and I have them hanging on my earring tree. And after she passed away, she had asked, in lieu of flowers, to donate back to our organization. And her daughter wrote something beautiful about that. And we are still receiving donations from that, people that knew and loved her. And she was a very special soul, and one of those women that when you're near, you can feel their beauty and their energy. And just sharing that time, I feel like I was gifted that time.
Yeah, she was amazing. And from this respite, all these wonderful women benefited from being around each other. And by being around each other, I remember when Rose glided into the room, and just her energy was so amazing. And you guys had a couple of activities. And Jessica, I'm going to go ahead and ask you about some of these activities that we did at Umstead that really brought the women closer to being in a good headspace. What are some of those activities that you guys offered the individuals?
Well, we try to always start, we start every respite with a lunch where we're all together, and we do like a opening question, introduction, so that everybody kind of gets a little bit more comfortable with each other. And then we also, after that, sort of like opening question, it's sort of just free conversation. And then we did a yoga class the first day at the Umstead. We do, I think, Pinehurst as well on the first day.
We did the yoga.
And Pinehurst, we also did, it was like a yoga meditation. And the instructor at Pinehurst was actually really amazing. And she did a really great activity with mala beads, one of the days where women kind of got to experience mala beads. I don't know if you're familiar because you were there.
Yeah, it was great.
So that was really great. And then we've also done healing with clay, where we had someone come in, and the women did meditation with clay in their hands. And I think we might have a photo of that. I'm not sure if we do or not. But so yeah, we try to sort of mix between formal activities and then just some downtime where they can just be by the pool and, chat and hang out and get to know each other. And Pinehurst, we actually had a room, like a middle room that was sort of like a living room kitchen. And that was really great because after dinner, we have group dinner, but after dinner, we were all able to just hang out in there and, just chat very informally. And again, I thought, I think this sort of mix between some, activities and then some downtime and just informal conversation we've seen seems to really work well.
And at the actual Pinehurst one, I brought a friend. And that friend has done everything that we talked about. She is no longer working where she was working at. We talked about that. She has moved closer to home. She's closer to her family, and she is loving life.
Oh, that's great.
It was so important for me to get her there. You guys remember her. She was kind of in her shell, not really talking. Yep. She's doing wonderful now.
Oh, that's great.
She said it was because of that retreat. It gave her our opportunity to meet other women and then actually think about what she needs to do at that time. Oh, and during that time, you guys, I was actually helping another one of my friends about going through cancer and telling her what we were doing and the things that were going on, and letting them know that there's different programs out there. But one of our guests has just asked, and one of our audience members said, ladies, creating and running Healing Pines Respite, has it changed your outlook on life? And if so, how?
Good question.
I'll start, Jessica, and then I'll pass it over to you.
Yeah.
I think for me, it didn't necessarily change anything, but it has really deepened my desire to want to reach as many women as possible. And my mother was very different than me, and she didn't reach out for support. And I think it really could have helped her at the time.
Mm-hmm.
She, I think, really had some PTSD from it and couldn't really talk about it or even see anything on television. And I think when I went through it, I was like, give me connection, give me connection. And so I just want to continue to be able to connect as many women as possible and to be able to gift as many women as possible.
Yeah.
So I know no matter where the next 10 or 20 years takes me, that I know this is a space I want to continue to be in. And I want to continue to grow Healing Pines and to be able to reach as many women as possible.
And Jessica, you said this has been a healing process for you.
It definitely has been. Yeah, I think after, my dad passed away, I just felt like I wanted to do something, but I didn't know what to do. And it was an uncomfortable place to be. So this has been very healing for me in that way, because I feel like I'm doing something that is helping people. And I really enjoy at the same time. I think as far as my outlook, I think maybe I try to remember that it's little things are not a big deal, and just be grateful for being here. And it's been real hard the last year, I'll be honest, with COVID and having a second grader at home. So trying to just remember that, take that with me, that I'm here and I'm grateful to be here and I'm healthy, and sort of remind myself of that as much as possible. I think that's probably the biggest part of it for me.
So Healing Pines Respite just had an auction or something you guys did, a fundraiser. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so we had a getaway home fundraiser. So we did an auction because obviously we couldn't do an in-person event. And we had donors that gave stays at their vacation homes, and we had a auction that was up for about 2 weeks. And it was very successful, actually. We surpassed our goal for fundraising, so that was great. And we also had Pinehurst and Umstead also donated packages. So we had a raffle for those. So if you could buy a raffle ticket for a little bit less than, what the getaway homes were their starting bid. So yeah, it was good. I think that we would continue, do something again next year with a similar idea. And some people got some great deals on some getaway homes. So
respite is so important during this time. Again, we've been locked down for a year. Yep. Now there's a chance for us to get out and have a little bit of life. And you know what? The cancer is not going anywhere. Right now, it looks like the rates are down. That's because people haven't been out. People haven't been served. They have not been to their doctors. They've been putting it off. Some of our individuals are not able to make it to their appointments because they don't have that transportation. So having some sort of respite is so important. Talanya Tabler, which you remember Talanya, she talked about meeting once a month was so important for her psyche. And before Healing Pines Respite came, like you said, there were other little things that you could go to, and it was all based on breast cancer. And we went to a couple of things that were so amazing. But having this respite time is so important to this community now. And you guys, where do you need the help? What can we do to help you grow? what is needed besides the fundraising? What are you looking at? Hey, I'm here. I want to be there.
I think from our community, we really need to get the word out that we exist. There are many women that can benefit from our services and they don't know about us. During COVID as well, we offered direct services after a grant we received, which was very helpful. So we were able to give women some individual oncology massage, acupuncture, even some food gift cards or meal delivery, just to help out, because we've been inside our homes for a year, and there are women that have been diagnosed this year and they have not had any support. And in addition to being cut off from their family and friends, they have not had the chance for any connection. And so this is even more important going into the next year as more women are going to be diagnosed. And finally, as things are getting safer, that they can really seek out that connection in a safe way. So spreading really information, letting people know we're here and we can connect people with resources as well, and donations. Really, it's the best way for us to make sure that we can serve all the women on our wait list. Our goal in the fall is, once we can, we want to be able to have monthly and possibly weekly respites as women need them, and to offer other services as well. This is something that we're both passionate about, and we know we can carry it out. We just need to make sure that the funding's there to be able to do that. Can I answer this question? I just saw a question pop up. Okay. So are we running on donations? Yes, we are. Our first year, we raised $40,000 in, I think it was like 6 or 8 months. And that was from the generosity of really people who knew and believed in us and believed in our mission. And we then, in the following year, as we're going into 2020, we're working on community partnerships. So we're trying to connect with local businesses and pharmaceutical companies and biotech that will really help support us. They treat the patient. We're dealing with the same women, and they have the drugs and the medical, and we live in the triangle. We have the resources here, and we have top education. We have, top treatments and doctors and biomedical and tech. It's all here around us. And we really need to focus on healing, because cancer survivors are living longer. They're also dealing with the baggage and all those side effects. And, I said again yesterday to someone, cancer is the gift that keeps on giving. And really, there are just, every year brings something new. I don't want to freak out anyone who's newly diagnosed that's watching this, but every year brings something, right? So
it is.
Yeah. And we would really like to focus. We have an intern, Caroline, that's been working with us this year. And we really want to focus as well on some long-term survivorship, because when you're through that trauma, right, of surgery and chemo, and then you right, you're like graduated from the hospital, and it's like, see you in 6 months. It's like, what, like, what do I do? And we know that we can be the gap for more women than we're serving. And to offer a respite, right now we're serving women up to 2 years, but we like to offer a longer term respite as well for, 3-year survivors. Regina, very well as I do, like 5 years brings its baggage. And then, there's new side effects that pop up, and they're related to chemo or surgery.
Yes.
Those gifts that keep on. So, and in order to do that, we need community partners and we need funds. So, and, I'm just so grateful for the local support we have received, because we would not have been able to come as far as we have without that.
And Kat, you might have said this, but we have gotten, as far as the question about funding, we have gotten some grants. We got a grant from the state, and then we got a grant from the Jelly Foundation, and then Stroud Roses is the most recent grant that we got that we were pretty excited about. So we've gotten these small grants, and we've, a lot of donations. But as Katerina said, we really need, community partners and more funding, always more funding.
Now, you guys were just nominated for something, I hear, or you're up for something.
We're not supposed to speak about that yet.
Well,
but we are excited about it.
When it comes out, I cannot wait to just scream to the top of my lungs. I'm so happy about it. Now, we have someone that says, besides Regina, do you ladies have any other help? You just talked about the young lady that's helping you now. Is there any other like community partners, people who are just volunteering?
We have, so Caroline she's a MSW intern from UNC. So she's been helping us this year. She's been amazing. Katerina's been talking with someone who's hopefully going to start helping us when Caroline graduates with our social media. And then, we're old, so we need help with social media. and then we do have sort of friends and people who have had some cancer background who are helping us in different ways. But I would say the bulk of it has been Katerina and I.
Yes, you guys. What are you selling? What can we buy? Is there anything out there that we can buy? What do you guys have? I purchased a journal from you guys. Yes, let's talk about it.
So this was just my COVID project. We've really been focusing on gratitude, and it's helped me so much through my own life post-cancer. And having a formal gratitude practice is important in many different ways. So this was my COVID project, and I had some help with the design as well from a friend, Ellen. And so this is actually available on Amazon, and we earn all the profits are donated back to the organization. And it's just 108 days, and there's quotes and lines to write in each day, and you can use it, in the morning, afternoon, night, for goals, whatever you would like. And you could also go to our website to make a donation as well.
Guys, I have mine. I need you to get yours. Amazon, straight to your door. All we've been doing is buying stuff online. Why not buy this? This is a wonderful gratitude and joy. 108 days. As long as that we've been locked into our homes, this is something we really need to think about. What brings you joy? What things bring you joy? What can you give? Now, I also was able to get this. You guys gifted this to me. This Healing Pines mug. I love the fact that you guys use the tree on here. It's just so amazing. And donations is where we need to make sure we donate, we fundraise. Sharon says that she will order her copy right after the live. We can give everybody who's on the live and everyone who listens to this later, please purchase. It's right there. Look, we even put the link up there. There is no reason. How much is it for? How much are these selling for? My eyes. $12. You can't beat $12. If everyone could purchase this, $12, whether you're listening now or you're going to be listening later, just go on Amazon and click on it. It is a beautiful, beautiful book, and it's a great read. It'll actually make you think about what's going on. It's a journal, and I am so happy that I was able to purchase this for you guys.
Thanks, Regina.
What's coming on? Go ahead.
If one thing about the ceramic tea vessels as well. So they are handcrafted by a local potter and friend, Julie Berkowitz. And she leads the healing with clay classes. And really the premise of why that began is sometimes people think meditation is supposed to be just sitting there silently, which if you have trauma or your brain is constantly going, that's trauma in itself, making yourself do that. So the idea is if you work with your hands, that you can actually bring yourself to a calmer meditative state, because it takes, the focus of just sitting still. So you're doing something and you can focus on your senses. So and part of that too is the art component as a way to honor Jessica's father as well. So that has been a part of it. And Julie has donated the tea vessels for our guests as well. So it's a beautiful gift that we get to give, created with love, given out with love for our guests.
Jessica, art is a big thing, right? It's
Yes.
a big thing for you. I want to just thank both of you, but really the clay, playing with clay, my girls now have their clay time. And I'm amazed how much they're making things. They're sitting still, but they're creating at the same exact time. And it brought me to, I have my little clay. It's hard as a rock. It's somewhere. I don't want to get up and move, but it is somewhere. But I have my clay that was given to me when they was like, you want to turn this in? You want to? No. Oh, no. I'm going to keep this. And it is part of my Chemo Glow. Doing that has been so amazing. So we're coming up on the hour. Is there anything else you would like to share with our audience before we leave them? Jessica?
I think one thing I don't know if we touched upon was just one of our goals for the year is to really try and reach, and one of my goals as a social worker is trying to reach some of the populations that are more underserved. And so trying to find those women who, maybe don't have as much access to other resources. And so that's sort of one of our goals. And I feel like we're a little, we're starting to get there, but I think, we really want to focus on that as well.
Yes. I remember you guys asking before we canceled the trip, was asking if someone can go and pick up someone that needed it, or having the funding to do Uber or do whatever. But volunteering in that way, once it's cleared, if it's okay, volunteering in that way is so helpful, because not everybody's going to have transportation to get to the respite. And so they're worrying about, how do I get to the respite to rest?
Right. And we want to make sure that we can get people there who want to be there, if they can't provide their transportation. And as Katerina said, her mother didn't really get the care that she needed at the time. And, we want to be there for people who are kind of in that same position. So just another, thing about the organization.
You're adding on there.
Yeah.
All right, Katerina, you want to close us out here? What are some things that you would like to see or let our audience know?
I think if you could do one thing to help us out, if you could follow us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and really share our mission. If people could, my ask would be, if you could think about if what we're sounding resonates, are there 2 or 3 people that you could mention our organization to just kind of help get those networks going, so more people know we're here? And, we want to reach the more rural areas in our state as well, and make sure that the cancer hospitals are sharing information that we're here. And, as through YSC as well, and through our local support group, and through Healing Pines, I connect with a lot of women and just trying to give them resources. And it may not be our organization, but just pointing them in the right direction of where they can go to help with services or whatever they may need. So yeah, just that would be really great.
How much is it to send one woman on a respite trip?
So the day spa is per person, it's like $250 to $300, I would say, for the day. And I would say a rough estimate right now would probably be about $1,000. Jessica, would you agree with that per woman?
For the 2 night. But keep in mind that includes, 3 meals, a yoga class, a spa treatment, an art component. So there's a lot, that happens during the respite. But yes, about $1,000 per woman. But we always say, women feel guilty taking care of themselves and, doing things like this. But self-care is really, really important, and self-care is not selfish. So, we really believe that this is a really important thing that we're doing, and that women are gaining a lot when they take care of themselves. So,
And it's asking, is your organization on Twitter?
We are not on Twitter, but if someone wants to run Twitter for us, you're welcome to.
Once again, we're old.
We are, and Jessica and I are fully volunteer. So this is, we want to grow this and make it sustainable to the point where we can have a salaried staff. But right now we are an all volunteer organization. And we want to keep this sustainable. And that's where those community connections can really help us. And sometimes, just mentioning it to one person, you don't know where it may lead. So we're just really, really grateful for any sharing that anyone can do.
Okay. Well, we do have a couple of questions coming in towards the end. Do you have to live in NC to attend Healing Pines Respite?
Right now you do. In our first few months, we received a grant from the state of North Carolina. And as we were growing, Jessica and I decided that we would keep it in North Carolina for now, because there are so many women. I think it's like over 27,000 a year are diagnosed with cancer in the state. So we really want to keep it here. And then once we get funds and we're a sustainable organization, we would like to open up to neighboring states as well.
There's so many women here in North Carolina that need respite. They need Healing Pines Respite. Guys, I'm so thankful for you coming on tonight. Jessica, Katerina, anytime you need me, let me know. I am there. If you guys want to donate to Healing Pines Respite, please go to their website. And these women right here are defining their glow. I'm so glad to have you on. Thank you again for coming. And guys, make sure you check us out next week. On Monday, I'll be celebrating 10 years cancer-free. Like Katerina said, it's the gift that keeps on giving. And I want to celebrate this milestone with you. Please join me. And if you want to jump on, just email me at chemoglow@gmail.com. Please remember that the glow doesn't define you. You define the glow. Guys, it's been a pleasure. Please volunteer. Buy the book. See you Monday.